All right, today we're focused on getting a wider back. And really what that comes down to is getting bigger lats. The bigger your lats are, the wider your back's gonna be. So we're gonna use the limited resources we got, get a little creative, and tear that back up. Let's get after it. Pullovers are one of the best exercises you can do for lats because they follow the natural arc of how your lats stretch and contract. They're easy to connect to, but unless you got a decline bench or a cable machine that you can keep those lats engaged the entire time, using something like dumbbells would just be less efficient because at some point in the movement, if you're doing a full range of motion, you're gonna lose tension on those lats. But what we can do is split it into two movements. And at that point, each one of those separate movements will really prioritize that part of the contraction. The first one focusing on the initial part of the contraction and making sure you're not just pulling that weight up, but you're activating that lat to get the weight to move. And just as important, focusing on and actively stretching that lat to create a better connection overall and a better contraction as you come up. I'm not just laying on a 45-degree angle to talk to the camera. If you've ever done a hammer strength pullover where you're doing it unilaterally and really focusing on flexing that lat as you come down, we're trying to mimic that same movement but shorten the range of motion to really keep that engaged the entire time. And then from there I'm going to stay on that same lat but superset it with a movement that's really going to mimic the top portion of a pullover. And really what that is me at a 45-degree angle. I got a slight bend of the elbow, but it's going to stay in a fixed position the entire time. And I'm keeping a supinated grip because that's what I did with the pullover because I had a better connection there. And now from that same movement, it's a partial rep at the top where you're staying bent over and you're just flexing that lat, finishing the contraction off.
Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
So I've always had an incredible connection and got great results in my lats by doing movements that really wrap around my body in comparison to something like a seated row where I'm pulling straight back. If I make a couple tweaks to that and use something like two individual handles where as I pull back, I actually pull them apart and really pull those shoulders back, I get more engagement, I get more growth, which is a huge benefit because if you do this correctly, you're not gonna need a ton of weight. You probably can tear yourself up with 15-pound dumbbells if you squeeze and engage them correctly. And the way I want you to think about these is doing a rear delt fly, but you're completely screwing them up. So instead of keeping those delts engaged and elbows nice and high, I want you to drop those elbows and take a path where you're actually wrapping around your body, letting those lats take over the entire movement and feel like you're engaging that lower lat as you squeeze around, and that's what finishes off the contraction.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
All right, so I'm finishing off by getting the rest of my upper back involved because even though I'm isolating my lats today, I don't want to neglect what makes a great overall upper back, which is really thick, overdeveloped rear delts, traps, and just gives you that 3D look from the side. So what we're going to do is still going to hit those lats, but it's going to get everything else involved as well. And the way we're going to do that is by starting out in a 45-degree angle and breaking it into two motions. So the initial part of the contraction, elbow is going to be almost locked out. You're going to pull straight back, engage those rear delts, rhomboids, traps, everything. And once you get completely stopped, flex, you're fully contracted, you're going to start to bend those elbows, continue the contraction, and then finish it off in your lats. So as always, like, subscribe to the notification bell, leave a comment in the video you want me to do next, and get after it, get growing. I'll talk to you soon.